How's it going, guys? Welcome to the FM Dugout for episode 2 of Restoration Project Rangers. So in the previous episode I covered off the existing squad and went over the areas of the team that I was likely to strengthen, players I was going to sell and the tactics I was likely to use. So if you haven't watched that episode, I suggest you start the series off from there before coming back to this episode. So today I'll be covering off the transfers in and out. I'll be covering off the friendlies and the first couple of competitive fixtures of the season before taking on St Mirren in the live com for the opening fixture of the Ladbrokes Championship. So St Mirren are our first opponents, and it's using the real life fixtures, so it gives me a chance to compare my results against the actual Rangers team, which is a pretty tall order for the first 11 games because they won all 11 of them and racked up a huge number of goals, certainly in the first few games. Rangers actually won this game 3-1 against St Mirren. Now St Mirren are one of the big underachievers in real life. After coming down from the Premiership, they were expected to challenge for the title or at least a playoff position, and it hasn't worked out that way for them. They've sacked the manager, so I don't know whether Football Manager will follow that same sort of pattern or not. So that's what the plan is for today's episode, so I'll jump straight into looking at the transfers just now. So in terms of players that have gone out, I've managed to move on Nicky Clark and Kenny Miller and get in 20.25k for it. Now, not too sort of thrilled about the money that's come in. It's not a lot, and you can see Nicky Clark's now valued at 205k at Port Vale. I don't believe that. I don't think that's particularly great. I mean, 11 pros and 4 cons. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Because I don't see it in him. And you can see in his first 3 games, he's played 6.2 for them and hasn't scored. And that's pretty much what Rangers fans have been used to over the last couple of seasons from him. The main reason for moving him on, obviously, is he was surplus to requirements and he was getting paid £3,000 a week. So just really wanted to move him on, and any kind of money in would be beneficial. Kenny Miller, he was a fantastic player for Rangers, I think, over the first, well, not the first 2. He didn't really get a chance the first time he was at Rangers. The second time he was there, he did very well. The third time, he shouldn't really have been brought back. Pace and acceleration were a big part of his game, and you can see that those areas have really kind of dropped. And he's still got decent skills, but he was on 5k a week, so we really needed to move him on. So wish him well at Shrewsbury Town, but let's move on. So 6 players have joined us, and let's take a run through and see what we have. So Chris Chandler has joined from a free transfer previously at Kilmarnock, before that Carlisle. He was a former Man City youngster. Fairly versatile down the left wing, can also play in centre mid, so I think he's quite a useful player to have. And certainly Lee Wallace now has someone to challenge him for his position, and that's one of the failings I've seen with Rangers in real life, is that Mark Warburton's approach of having a lean squad is now starting to backfire on him a bit, because there's no competition for places. There's nobody kind of always on your heels to try and get into that first team. So Chris Chandler's here to mainly provide that challenge for Lee Wallace, and if we take a look at his stats as a fullback, you can see most of them are pretty good in double figures, apart from concentration, positioning and marking. We can work on these too. Concentration isn't something that we can focus on, but perhaps it will improve over time. In terms of his actual abilities, physically very, very good. He's pacey, he's fit, got good stamina, fantastic physicals for a fullback or a wing back, or indeed a winger if he ever needs to play there. Tackling's decent, passing's good, teamwork, work rate are nice and high, bravery's good, anticipation's good. So I think on the whole, a good player for a 2-year deal on 1.3k a week, and that's almost half of what Nicky Clark was on. So you can see that you're getting much more value for your money in signing a player like this. Next up is Oscar Boer, signed from AGF for 130k. 17-year-old Danish player, and just look at where he can play. Pretty much anywhere apart from attacking midfield. striker, sweeper and goalkeeper. Very, very useful player to have around. Now, at 17 years old, you might think he's someone that's been bought in to, just be there for the future. I do believe that he will get some game time this year with Tavernier. He needs to work on the technical abilities of his game. Certainly from a defensive point of view, his tackling and marking needs to be improved. But you can see he's got 11 crossing, 11 dribbling, 11 first touch, 12 flair, and 12 technique. So I think he's going to be pretty good on the ball, which will be very useful. And with 13 pace, 13 acceleration on the wing, he should be able to bomb up and down that right channel and provide support for the attack and get back in time to defend. So I'm really excited about this signing. Now, it's an odd one. So how did I come across this guy? Well, what I did, because Rangers only had 500k, I wanted to try and find players that were within my price budget. And what I did was go to, I started off, I think, Holland was the first place I looked at, under 19s. And I just looked at the general information to find players that were within my price range who were in positions that I was looking for. So I was looking for right backs, left backs, defensive midfielders, attacking midfielders and left wingers. And you can see here already that I've actually signed two of the boys in the Danish under-19s using that approach. And it's pretty useful to do that when you don't perhaps have the scouting knowledge. So I don't have anyone at the club who has knowledge of Denmark. I wouldn't have found these guys otherwise. And sometimes it's just worthwhile taking a look. You can see some of the skills and it's maybe just enough to then think, right, I'll now go and scout them. And that's exactly what I did, scouted them. And then managed to get him in for 130k. So I think Oscar will be a very, very useful player for us. He does have 4 cons, very one-footed, has some improvements to make in strength, but those sort of things can be worked on. He's well suited to Championship football for his current ability, and at 17 years old, that can't be a bad thing. So next up is Omar Rowe, who was a former Southampton youngster, and we've signed him up on a 2-year deal, 1k a week, and he can play in a number of positions, but we're going to be using the attacking midfield left primarily, or the right as an inside forward if we should require it. One of the things I would like to do here is have the flexibility to move the front three. I've got Rowe, I've got Mackay, Waghorn, Tom Walsh can also play in all 3 of those positions as well, so it allows you to kind of chop and change things and keep the other team kind of guessing, and maybe you can spot weaknesses with certain defenders if you can cut inside as an inside forward that they're worse on one foot than they are in the other. So it just gives me a lot more flexibility in that space to have someone that can play in both. So in terms of his abilities, very pacey and technically pretty decent, 11 flair, 13 technique, 13 dribbling. We need to work on his first touch a little bit, probably his passing, crossing as well. Mental aspect of his game isn't the best, and maybe that's why he didn't make it at Southampton, and it'll be interesting to see how he makes the step up with the pressure that comes with playing for Rangers. But as I say, from the physical point of view for a 20-year-old, that's really good, but we'll work on his stamina, probably work on his strength as well, because the Scottish game is pretty rough. But yeah, really good signing for 1k a week. Forgot to say, Oscar Burt is only on 500k a week for 3 years, so that's absolutely fantastic, and I probably will be looking to offer him a new contract next season just to keep him here as long as I can, because I think English clubs will come a sniffing probably at some point. So next up is Will Vaulks, signed from Championship rivals Falkirk for 230k. Now that is pretty pricey for signing him, but I felt it was required. So I used that technique of going through the under-19s, and I found a number of defensive midfielders there. Didn't really find anyone that was particularly great, and any that I did got signed up by another club. So it left me with Will Vaulks here, who Frank McParland, the chief scout, had come back with 3 players at the start of the save, saying that these are players I should check out. And certainly I think with Will Vaulks, I knew about him anyway. He's a good player in real life. He's actually scored against Rangers a couple of times this year, with a couple of cracking goals, unfortunately. But you can see here he's really improved since joining the club. Signed him to basically play as a ball-winning midfielder, either in the central mid or the defensive mid position. And you can see that he's got double figures in most of the key areas apart from acceleration. But all of this is working in his favour at the moment. It's all improving. 21 years old, £800 a week on a 2-year deal. Really quite pleased with that. Next up is Robert Skov, signed from Silkeborg IF for 180k. Now, Robert fits in the same kind of pattern as Oscar Boer, found going through the under-19s. And I think he's a nice little player. 19 years old. He's unfortunately on 2.4k a week, which is a bit higher than I had hoped for. But I think he's got real potential. And you can see he can play as a trequartista or advanced playmaker. I don't really like trequartista. You really need a strong midfield behind you. You know, good, strong ball-winning midfielders if you're going to play something like that. So I don't really want to do that with him. I would prefer to play him as an advanced playmaker, attacking. And you can see from this that his skills are pretty decent. Teamwork's the only one under 10. Technically very good. Good passing, great long shots, which I think will be excellent in that attacking midfielder position on the edge of the box. Dribbling, finishing, first touch, flair. I think he's going to be excellent on the ball. So I'm not too bothered about the 2.4k. I mean, again, as a comparison, Nicky Clark was on 3k, and I think this guy's got a lot of potential. We will need to work on his strength again for the same reasons as Omar Rowe. So yeah, he's an exciting prospect. And then last, but not least, a 16-year-old signing, Andrew McCarthy from Partick Thistle for 60k. So this guy, I'd just been sniffing around for youngsters in Scotland and just came across him, and it was while I was looking for an attacking midfielder. And at 16 years old, you can see some of the key skills here are in double figures. Need to work on the composure. You know, that's not really a problem. Strength is a big one, right? But the physicals will improve as he gets older. At the moment, his current ability is not even to a gold star standard, but I would expect him to be able to at least take part in some of the kind of early rounds of the cups, to get him some game time. And I think getting around the first team will definitely see his skills improve. He's only on £350 a week for 2 years, so we'll see how it goes with Andrew McCarthy. So that's it. 6 players in and 2 out. However, there were other transfers out. I had to terminate the loans for Zelalem and Oduwa. Now, Oduwa was just because he, as I said in the first episode, I didn't think he would have a role to play. I didn't think there was enough about him to play as a striker. I felt Ryan Hardy was better. Also, Waghorn would have been Tom Walsh as well. And 3k a week was a bit steep for a lone player I didn't really need. So what happened with Zelalem, because I did say he was going to be a big player for us, well, he ended up with a broken foot in our friendly against Bournemouth. Now, that, when I got the injury, it said 5 to 6 months. It now says 3 to 4 months. However, he's only on loan until January, and there's no guarantee I would have been able to get a contract extension. So what I am trying to do at the moment is identify another central midfielder potentially to sign, and we'll see whether or not I can get someone in. And will they be up to the same standard as Zelalem? Probably not. It's a pity. It's a real pity, but you know, that's how things go sometimes in Football Manager. You can't really control it. So anyway, I'm rambling on. Let's take a look at the schedule. So we had 3 friendlies, 2 wins and a loss, and then 2 competitive games. So first game against Ayr, dominated, probably should have won by a lot more. Ryan Hardy with a double. He was playing up front from the start. Waghorn was playing out as a winger on the left. Didn't play particularly well. Barry Mackay with assists for both of them, so not a bad result in fairness. Then we played East Fife, and not as many shots on goal, but again, more possession. Goals for Kieran, Lyon and Walsh. 2 late goals, probably sparing our blushes a little bit. Didn't play particularly well in that game, and we played Waghorn up front, I think, from the start there, and didn't really see anything from him to suggest that he should play ahead of Hardy at the moment. Then Bournemouth came to Ibrox and beat us 1-0, and this was where Zelalem picked up his injury. Outplayed in terms of shots on target, slightly more possession, just didn't really play that well. You can see from Wes Fotheringham 8.1, they really kind of hammered us. Matt Ritchie was a thorn on our side throughout the entire game. Not too bothered about it. I mean, it is against the Premiership opposition, though not one of the stronger Premiership teams, but it's not a bad performance. We then played our first competitive game of the season in the Challenge Cup first round against Queen of the South. Now, we had a flying start to this game. Martin Waghorn with a hat-trick in 20 minutes. But then we suffered a blip before half-time. Loss of concentration for 2 sloppy goals. Lee Wallace actually had a really bizarre one. He just headed the ball into the middle of the park where there wasn't a central defender, nor was there a goalkeeper, and then Milne latched onto it and smashed it home. So we went in at half time only 3-2 up, despite dominating the game at that point, and then went 4-2, then 4-3, and Omar Rowe then gave us that 2-goal cushion again. It's the same sort of story. We had more shots and so on than the other team. Possession was better. As a whole, the team played relatively well, apart from Nicky Law and Rob Kiernan, who were taken off. But the 3 goals conceded certainly was a bit troubling for me. The next game was against Elgin City. Elgin City, I think, are Ladbrokes League 2, so the bottom tier. And a 1-0 win in this game really didn't do us justice. They had a man sent off as well, which makes it even worse. 26 minutes, they were down to 10 men, and they just defended valiantly. 20 shots at goal, only 7 on target, and 57% possession. We really should have won this game by a lot more. Martin Waghorn having a poor performance after scoring a hat-trick in 20 minutes in the previous game. He really kind of let it slip here. So Barry Mackay with the assist for Omar Rowe. I think it was just a classic cross to the back post, and the winger comes in from the far side and just slots it home. So a little bit disappointing to have only won that 1-0. And that takes us on to today's match against St Mirren. So let's go and take a look at the team lineup for today, and we'll just switch off our news ticker. Okay, so here's how we are lining up for today's match. I am not going with my defensive approach, certainly in the opening game of the season at home. I really want to kind of lay down a marker for the rest of the season. So back line of Fotheringham, Tavernier, Ball replacing the injured Kiernan, Wilson, then Wallace. Midfield, Nicky Law as an advanced playmaker and support. Will Vaulks as ball-winning midfielder. Barry Mackay, right winger. Robert Scov as an attacking midfielder. Omar Rowe, left winger, and Martin Waghorn as the advanced forward. In terms of injuries at the moment, as I say, Kiernan's injured, Jordan Thompson's coming back from injury, as is Jason Holt. So that's why they have not been included for today's game. So I think we'll just get on with the match now and see whether or not we can emulate or better the real life Rangers score of 3-1. So Jason Naismith is missing. I don't care. Jason Holt, don't want to injure him further. Okay, so they're lining up with 4-4-2. And right, as people who have seen my series before will know, this is how I like to play. I like to have tight marking on the strikers, closing down all midfielders, strikers, and the 2 fullbacks, but I'm also going to close down the goalkeeper as well. I want to put pressure on them. Tackling is hard and showing wide players and strikers onto their weaker foot. So we'll continue to our team talk, and again, those who are used to my series will know I always talk assertively to my team. Usually gets the best out of them. getting a few positive responses. That's not too bad as far as team talks are concerned. I'm also going to tell us to exploit the flanks in this game, and let's go. So our season kicks off with a home match against St Mirren, and St Mirren straight from the kick-off with a chance here, and we're backing off him even though I tell him to close him down. McMullen nearly getting through on goal, Wallace with the last ditch challenge, and now it's a throw for St Mirren, and we've got a highlight of it as well, so really got to deal with this well. Wallace launches it forward, Waghorn picks it up from deep, Skov lofts it out to the right wing, looking for Mackay, can't get there. Tavernier in advanced position, can he get the ball in? Gets to the byline, back post, Omar Rowe, 59 seconds on the clock, and we go 1-0 up with a goal for Rowe. That's his third of the season, and I think most of his goals have been the same. Crosses from the right and he comes in at the back post, and that's fine. That's the way I like to play, and you'll see Mackay will probably get a number of goals like that as well. Certainly my Hexagon Challenge series, my wide players get that kind of joy as well with this formation. So 1-0 up, 25 minutes on the clock, fairly comfortable in terms of the stats. What's our pass completion like? Can't see at the moment. 75%, 77 tackles won, so it's going not too badly. Rowe with the corner, and it's headed back out towards him. Whips it in with his right foot, headed out again. Nicky Law to Rowe on the edge of the box, headed again, and that looked like there might have been a foul on Waghorn, but it drops to Mackay. No, it doesn't. Back out to Tavernier. We're just bombarding them with balls into the box here. Tavernier whips it in. Mackay at the front post. Lovely finish from him. Puts us in a real commanding position now. 37 minutes on the clock, 2-0 up. Great start. Now we've got to make sure that we don't get complacent and then lose a goal either just before or just after half time, which is usually what happens. So we go in at 2-0. Got to be pleased with that. Keep it going. Yep, there we go. Well, that certainly gets the response that I was hoping for. So I am going to try something different here. I'm going to say assertively to concentrate, because I never like conceding goals straight after half time. I don't if we don't concede a goal, do I take credit for saying concentrate? I don't know. 53 minutes, St Mirren with a chance. Nope, Nicky Law launches the ball forward. Waghorn, first touch not great, but we might still get a break here. Skov to Waghorn. You can see how deep Waghorn's dropping here. Different player to Brian Harney. Mackay in the edge of the box. Rowe again. Almost a carbon copy of his finish for number one. That's now his fourth goal of the season. Great little player by the looks of it, and certainly Mackay and Rowe seem to have a kind of understanding. Maybe Rowe will repay Mackay with a favour with a good cross for Mackay to finish. Nicky Law now to Skov. It looks like we've got St Mirren on the ropes. Mackay looking for Waghorn, but it's a slack ball, giving away possession. Wilson heads it back up the park. Skov trying to get the ball back, but can't quite get there. St Mirren don't seem to be committing too many men forward, so you're fairly comfortable at the moment. Will Fotheringham play short like I've told him? No, he won't. Skov managing to win in the air. Waghorn to Skov, looking for Rowe now. Can he get his hat-trick? Omar Rowe on his debut. Beautiful finish. It's now 4-0 Rangers, and I don't think Omar Rowe could ask for a better league debut than that. That's superb. Right, I'm just having a look at the clock, and I think we're comfortable enough to probably make a couple of changes. I'll leave it another 5 minutes because we might get another goal here. Nicky Law back to ball, out wide to Tavernier, lots of space in the wing, whips it in looking for Waghorn. Waghorn slides in. 5-0 Rangers now. We're absolutely demolishing St Mirren here, and St Mirren have now gone even more defensive. They're trying to shut up shop, and clearly it's not working for them. Oh, hush my mouth, they might actually get a chance here. Shankland, Agnew, Carswell to Howison, Shanklin again, and Volks with the clearance. So you can see there Volks was sitting in a bit deeper, and that's exactly the sort of play that I wanted from a midfielder, just dropping in and helping that back line out. You can see he's dropping deeper than Nicky Law, and he's actually tracking Jim Goodwin there, so it's good to see that working out. But we still haven't got the ball back. Here's Shanklin now. Wilson gets it back off and goal as far as Agnew. Shanklin again. I think we're going to have to be careful here. There's going to be a chance, and Goodwin is the man to watch in the middle. And there you go, he scored. So 5-1, takes a shine off the result a little bit. I'm actually just going to leave it now until 70 minutes. I don't want to rock the boat at all. Okay, so 70 minutes, Robert Scov at 69%. I think we'll play Nicky Law there and bring on Andy Halliday in midfield. We'll give Ryan Hardy a run out, and anyone else looking like they need a bit of a break. We'll try Chris Chandler on for Wallace, I think. 3 subs. Bit risky, but you know, I want to keep the team fresh, and certainly playing very well today. The win looks assured now. Clock now just running down. Substitutions seem to have taken the sting out of the game a little bit, and should go full time here when Howison plays it forward. Looking for Goodwin, Fotheringham is a bit risky there. I don't know why he didn't come out a bit further, but never mind. So 5-1 in the opening game against St Mirren. Obviously going to tell them that I'm very pleased. Wasn't expecting that. Possession a little more even than I would have hoped. I would have preferred to have edged it, but you know, we've really been an attacking power today. Omar Rose, as I say, picking up a fantastic hat-trick on his league debut. So yeah, we've done 2 goals better than Rangers had in real life, so not a bad start to the series. Obviously Rose is getting a lot of praise for that. So guys, that ends episode 2 of Restoration Project Rangers. Hopefully you enjoyed that performance there from the club. Certainly looks as though things will be going quite well. I probably will do the Hibs game, because there's going to be fewer big games. Either the Hibs game there, or maybe the away one actually. Rangers lost this one in real life, so yeah, I think, yeah, I'll do that. 1st of November, get these games out of the way, and we'll see how we're doing there. And then obviously, depending on the way things go after that, we'll see whether any cup games will come in. But obviously Hibs and St Mirren, well, maybe not St Mirren now, but Hibs will be our main challenge this year. So if you've liked this episode, looking forward to the coming episodes and this series in general. Leave a like and a comment. Really appreciate any feedback you guys can give. If you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. Until the next time, I'll see you when I see you.